We play and call it work.
Hey folks, Janene from MiniWarGaming here with another how-to video for you. In this tutorial, we are going to do the pages for this book in the treasure hoard of the Gale Force 9 Eye Tyrant model. As always, if you have suggestions for something you'd like to see in a future how-to video, please leave it down below in the comments. For this particular book, I want it to have a really aged parchment look, so I'm going to paint it as if the outer edges of all of the pages are more worn than the inner edges. We're going to begin by base coating all of the pages in Mournfang Brown, and we're going to mix our Mournfang Brown with a little bit of Lamy Medium before we apply it. I just want to put this on as an all-over layer. These coins that are on top of the pages, I'm going to try to avoid them, but the reality is I'm going to need to touch them up later just because some of the other steps are going to put paint right over them. But I want to make sure that I get a nice solid coat of this color. It's going to take me a couple layers to really get a good saturated brown color. And I also want to make sure that I get the edges of all of these pages right up to the binding all the way around. Alright, here's our book after we finished with the Mournfang Brown. We're going to begin highlighting the center of this book. We're going to start with Deathclaw Brown. This color's also been mixed with some Lamy Medium, and I'm going to apply this over about 90% of the two large pages that are open right now. I'm going to cover about 90% of the page, leaving a little bit of that Mournfang Brown around the outer edges and in the center where the book is bound. I also want to do a couple layers of this color just to make sure that I get a really nice saturated coat. After I've applied the Deathclaw Brown and gotten the bright color that I like, we're going to highlight with some Bestigor Flesh. Now I'm going to be sponging this color on with a little bit of blister foam, and for that reason I don't want to add any Lamy Medium to my paint. I'm just going to take a very small corner of this foam. I'm going to apply some paint onto it. I'm going to sponge most of that paint off onto a paper towel, and then I'm going to sponge this onto the pages. This is just going to let me start building up a little bit of texture on this parchment so it doesn't look like it's so flat. I want the color to look a little bit mottled, and that's what this sponging is going to accomplish for me. After I finish sponging a little bit, I'm going to mix some Lamy Medium into my paint, and I'm going to apply it right next to the spine of the book where the pages go into the binding with a traditional brush, just to kind of make the color a little bit more solid in the very center of the book. After the Bestigor Flesh, we want to do another sponged highlight using Ushabti Bone. We're going to use the same piece of blister foam. We're just going to tear off the area where we had the paint before so that we have a nice clean surface to work with this new color. Again, we're going to sponge most of the paint off into a paper towel, and then we're just going to apply it very lightly to the center of these pages right next to the spine. We're going to do one more final highlight with this sponging process, and we're going to use Screaming Skull for that. I'm not using a lot of this color. I'm just going to sponge a little bit right in the center section. Now that we have this parchment highlighted, I'm going to add a few low lights on the outer edges. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take Agrax Earthshade, and I'm going to apply this on all of the edges. This is really going to accentuate the sculpted pages that you can't see on the sides of the book. And I'm also just going to put a thin line down the very center of the book. Next, I want to take a little bit of Dryad Bark. I'm going to mix that with some Lamy Medium. And then with a small tipped brush, I'm just going to dab this on the edges of the parchment. It's going to break up the sharp sculpted line and give it a little bit of a rough look on the outer edge. After that Dryad Bark, I'm going to go back with a little bit of Ceramite White and add one final super highlight to the very center of this book. Alright, here are the pages complete. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more how-to videos, I have another one where I'm going to finish up this book by painting the script and painting the cover surrounding it in the MiniWarGaming Vault, and the link down below in the description. If you don't already have a Vault membership, you can go ahead and click the link, sign up for a 7-day free trial, and get access to my video as well as hundreds of other videos in the MiniWarGaming Vault. So go ahead, click the link, start your free trial, and happy wargaming!